So Hogwarts Legacy dropped not one, but two new clips this week. They're very short. However, it actually caused me to go back and look at the previous two trailers that we've gotten, and I think I found something that I haven't seen a lot of people discussing. So the first post is here, October 18th. Where will the Grand Staircase lead you? And a very nice shot here during the daytime looking up at the Grand Staircase. You have the winged boars over here on the right, and you can see a few portraits moving around kind of here in the middle. But other than that, not really a whole lot going on here. Okay, so then we have the second post, which also came on October 18th, and this one says, the castle isn't only meant to be explored during the day. Super exciting here that they seem to be really playing up the idea of us being able to sneak around Hogwarts at night. They've actually talked about this a number of times lately, including when they mentioned the restricted section of the library, as well as us being able to sneak around the Forbidden Forest. Now this shot here appears to be the exact same one as before, however, it is set at night. So only a few differences here. First of all, you have the flames over here on the right, just above the winged boars, and now all of the lamps are set to be on as well. Now, I'm not sure if this was intentional or if we're supposed to read anything into it at all, but the second one, the one that's set at night, there is no audio at all. You just hear the crackling of the fire. Whereas the first one in the daytime actually has music playing along with it. So I don't know if this means there's not going to be any music at night, and maybe instead we're focusing on the sounds of the game and trying to sneak around. You know, you're trying to be stealth, so you need to hear everything that's going on. I'm not sure, but I did think it was an interesting choice to see that we don't have any nighttime music with this one. Now, during our recent live stream right here on YouTube, if you guys haven't checked it out before, we stream every Tuesday night here. We talk all things Hogwarts Legacy, and someone in my chat actually mentioned, hey, did you notice that none of the staircases are moving here? You know, even though this is a video clip, we don't really see a whole lot of movement. There's a few things kind of moving around with portraits, and we see one of those books flying around again. But in terms of the stairs, they aren't moving, and anyone who's a fan of Harry Potter knows.
Oh, and keep an eye on the staircases. They like to change.
We read about this in the book. Of course, we see it in the movie. And to be honest, I was never really a big fan of how it worked in the movie. I mean, they kind of just swivel all the way around. It's almost mechanical in nature rather than feeling like it's actually magic. However, we got a glimpse of what we thought this was going to look like in the first reveal trailer for Hogwarts Legacy. Take a look at it here. And I love this. I thought this was great. I loved how it appeared on screen and how everything just sort of magically fell into place. I thought this felt way more like a magic school than what we saw in the movies. However, Troy Levitt, former Hogwarts Legacy dev, mentioned on an interview with Podcast Now that this was changed. Take a listen to this clip right here from Troy.
Here's what I'll say about the Grand Staircase. The early version that you saw in the very first trailer is different than I think what you end up in the game. Okay. So there you go. There's a small reveal. What we discovered about making the stairway build up like that, you know, because it was like, you can see it in the film, that it was building up underneath you. Well, it was too slow for players, right? Players didn't want to wait for the thing to come around. So we had to come up with a faster way to make the Grand Staircase do its thing that wouldn't slow players down. And that's a lot of what you're doing when you're making a game, is you're like thinking, oh, that's really cool. What's it like when you experience it? Dang, it's a little too slow, or the timing's off. Well, we need to adjust it and make it better. You know, that it's a very iterative process. It's always responding. You don't know what you have in a game until you experience it. And I think it's really important for players and developers to recognize that. You can talk all day long about what you think would be good, but until you actually get in and play it and experience it, you don't know what you have.
So knowing this caused me to go back and look at the more recent trailer and see if there were any shots at all of the staircase. Do we see this new animation that Troy is talking about here? Because my first thought was, they probably made it just like the movies. But no, that's not what they did. Instead, we do get a very, very brief glimpse, I think at least, of how this is going to work in the State of Play trailer. Let's take a look right here. And you'll see that instead of them kind of forming and just being all scattered as they appear, now we have sort of these individual pieces of the stair sliding in from left to right there. And while I don't think I like it better than the first option that we saw in that original trailer, I do like it better than how the movies handled it. So again, the State of Play trailer, that's been a while as well. It'll be interesting to see if they have changed this yet again whenever we get another update, whenever we see a more extensive trailer, or who knows, whenever we play the final game. But if you listen to that full interview with Troy, there are definitely some interesting things to think about in terms of how it actually affects gameplay. He mentions that the first option motion was just too slow for players. And so they were having to get there and then kind of wait on the stairs to form instead of them just naturally forming as the player walks. Now, in my head, I'm like, couldn't you just speed that up? But Troy knows way more about making games than I do. So I trust him when he says this is something that's difficult to pull off. And now it seems that we get a brief glimpse of what they have came up with as the solution in this other trailer. And I can certainly see how these would be able to slide in much faster, just kind of as each stair appears here, rather than having all these individual pieces of the stair kind of floating around and forming. Now, if you want to check out the full stream where I break this down in real time with my chat, I do keep VODs of all those up right here on YouTube. In fact, I'll put this most recent one right here on the right side of your screen now. Check it out. As always, thank you all so much for watching. I'll talk to you again soon.